LeBron James. I've lost touch. Did he just quietly retire? I don't know.
One guy has a contract and will honor that contract.
Oh.
The other guy is trying to get out of a situation which he got 4 years left.
That he deserves to get out
Yeah,
of.
we're going to talk about your guy right now. Let's see how you feel after I finish with him. Let's see how you feel after I finish with
I
him.
can't wait.
It is a packed show. Let's dive right in because there is a ton to get to this morning. All right, you two were alluding to ex-net Goran Dragic. He had some very interesting comments on what it was like last season in Brooklyn. He said, quote, "I played with some stars like Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, and I have to admit that it was quite difficult because the focus was not the team, but more the individual performances of the individuals." Goran made these comments to a local paper back in his home country, so he was very frank, very honest, guys. Shannon, what do you make of these comments?
Well, I'm not surprised. I think the thing is, Skip, is that Goran Dragic spent his last 7 years in Miami. And we know when people talk about the Miami Heat, what do they talk about? Heat culture. We know one thing. Is heavy team emphasis first. And that team has had some superstars within it. You had a Shaq, you had a LeBron, you had a D-Wade, you had a Chris Bosh. Now you have Jimmy Butler. So he's been around. Now, he wasn't there with Shaq, but he's been around Jimmy Butler. He's been in this organization, and he's seen how organization that's team-centric first, no matter the stars, it's all about the team. He's seen how that team operates. He goes to Brooklyn. They have superstars. They have superstar, however you want to define the term. Kevin Durant's a superstar. Whether or not you believe Kyrie Irving is a superstar, that's a discussion for another topic or another day. And he says, hold on, wait a minute. We understand that you guys are superstars, but what about the team? What about doing in the best interest of the team? What about all of a sudden it's not about your stat? It's not about you getting 30. It's not about you getting 25 shots. It's not about this. What about winning? And it seems to me is that he didn't see that. And it's like, wow. And it seems to me that the Nets turned the keys over to the car to KD and Kyrie, and they didn't use them in a responsible manner to create a winning environment. And this is why Kevin Durant does not like being a leader, because for the longest time, not being a leader has allowed him to escape responsibility of things that transpired. We know he signed up on the James Harden trade. We know he signed up on the Steve Nash becoming the head coach. We know all the moves, the LaMarcus Aldridge, the Blake Griffin, the Patty Mills, all that he signed up on. But somehow it gets shoved to the foot of Kyrie because Kyrie didn't get the vaccine mandate. So everything that happened within that organization that was negative somehow get placed at Kyrie's feet. Same thing that happened in OKC. Everything that happened negative in OKC got placed at Russ's feet. Somehow Kevin Durant, for the longest time, because Kevin Durant got more fanboys in the media than he would like for you to realize, he escapes criticism. This is what we've seen in a team-centric situation where the hierarchy is already established. Kevin Durant's fine. We heard none of this at Golden State because it was already established. But when we go to the Brooklyn Nets, we hear this, and Goran Dragic, I don't think he has an axe to grind. I don't think he's a guy that's bitter or he's upset about anything. I think he's speaking from a point of, this is what I saw in my short tenure. Now, people going to try to blow it up. Bro, you was only there for 3 months. Yeah, and I saw this in 3 months. Can you imagine what it was like for 2 years, for 3 years? You're absolutely correct. I was there for a short period of time, but what I observed in that short period of time is something that is not beneficial for team success. You can have individual success, in which both of these guys have. One averaged 29.9, 30, the other averaged 27, had careers high. Kyrie had career highs. But at the end of the day, what did that get him? And so for me, Skip, I'm just trying to, the difference between LeBron and KD is that there's no question that LeBron is the leader. And when things go wrong, he accepts the blame is going to get placed on him, fairly or unfairly. What Kevin Durant tries to do is says, well, I don't want to be a leader. And he wants to orchestrate things from the back. So therefore, when it doesn't go wrong, he escapes criticism. But we know the likelihood of something transpiring in that organization, be a player coming or going, be a coach coming or going, it has Kevin Durant's thumbprint on it. You know that, I know that. But for some reason, over the course of 14 seasons, he's been able to escape criticism when things don't go right in the organization where other players haven't been able to do that. So I am not surprised. Well, I am surprised because this is the first time that we've heard something like this. But Goran Dragic should not be dismissed. I don't believe he has an axe to grind. I don't believe he's making this up. I think from what he observed in the 2 months he was there, wasn't beneficial for team success, but it was beneficial for individual success, and he spoke to that.
Okay, I just let you go on and on and on and on and on. Now it is my turn. The floor is now mine, and I got a whole lot to say about everything you just said, starting with Goran Dragic. And I agree with only one point you made, no axe to grind. He's 36 years of age. He's been around this block many times. I have the highest regard for his basketball IQ and his basketball character. And once upon a time, a long, long time ago, Goran Dragic shot my Spurs right out of the playoffs in a sweep by the Phoenix Suns. They got swept because he was out of his mind making every three he dared to look at. Okay. So I'm going to reread the quote from Goran. He was speaking to a Slovenian newspaper, so it's translated, but I'm sure it's right on the button. Right. I played with some stars like Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, and I have to admit that it was quite difficult because the focus was not on the team, but more the individual performances of the individuals. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to say that I first guessed this again and again and again. I came and sat in this seat again and again and again throughout the whole year, and I said, I got to tell you, they're hard to watch because they play iso ball like no team has ever played iso ball, and I began to wonder, what does Steve Nash exactly do? Because as Kyrie said, we don't need a coach, and they were not listening to anything that Steve Nash or Sean Marks or any of the assistants had to say about what happened on the basketball floor, because it was pickup game featuring 2-on-5. It was the all-time iso ball. Your turn, my turn. I haven't seen anything like it since Kevin played with Russell Westbrook back in his OKC days when I would just cringe and close my eyes because your turn or my turn. Kevin would just stand over on the wing in Oklahoma City for 8 straight years with his hand up like, you want to flip it over here to me? Never ran a play to get him open. Nobody runs any plays to get anybody open. You go over on the right side or flip it to me over here, and I'll try to go here on the left side, 1-on-2, and see if I can get a shot. And obviously, the Boston Celtics, featuring a former Spur assistant who I thought should have been a head coach about 10 years ago, Ime Udoka, finally just said, we have a really good defensive team. I think you called it the best defensive team in basketball. So in the first round, they just said, look, the head of the snake is KD. It's not Kyrie. It's KD. Let's attack him with 2 or 3 players every time down the floor because they don't run any plays to get him open. It's just going to be 1-on-3. And let's see if he can cope with that. And he couldn't. And the biggest reason he couldn't